Okay, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect Akim, teaching and preaching this truth. All right, and Shalom to the Akim and Akwat, listening and learning. All right, striving for salvation. The so-called Negro, Latino, Native American are the Israelites, God's chosen people of the Bible. All right, salvation belongs to you and you alone. This includes the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigner, who may look like the heathen, act like the heathen. All right, but their father's line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right. So, continuing, getting on with this lesson, may it be edifying through the willpower and spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. But, going into the rebranding of, the Department of Defense, all right, Trump changed that name to Department of War, and that is, pretty much these last couple of weeks, that war theme has been, a reoccurring theme popping up in the news. As the scriptures say, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay, so I just wanted to do a little lesson on that, because, it's the Lord's determination, to gather the nations, all right, in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, which ultimately that's what the Third World War is going to lead to. All right. As earlier this week, you had Trump, strike a military boat, or it wasn't a military boat, Slovakia, a Venezuelan boat that supposedly was carrying narcotics. All right. And, that could very well, push forward as other things that he has done. All right, such as that hit on Iran. When they sent those bunker busters out there. These are, events that can, spark a war to, be official. As some, news medias are saying that we are already in it, but, it hasn't been officially declared. But so, just looking into, and taking, pulling a couple scripts about that name change. Because, there's a reason why Trump is doing it. If you listen to the audio clip of him saying, it's like, pretty much his pride is one, the pride of these Edomites, because that's what it goes into. It goes into him, what he said, y'all could watch his interview on it, But what he said, something along the lines of, we're not on defense, we got to be on the attack. And that's what he's been showing. He's making these shots to, overpower and use that sword. Okay, because that's Esau's blessing, is the sword. And that's how he overtakes countries. That's how he gains, through bloodshed. All right. But I thought that, as we look and take, I'm going to just grab the scripture since it'll say it than me trying to fumble on my words and misquote it. Ecclesiasticus, also known as the Book of Sirach, 5:15, be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small. Right? So this name change ain't a small matter, because it's showing you that, hey, war is in their heart. All right? War is on his mind, as the scriptures say. And I'm about to pull that, that, this devil knows where this thing is going, where these small conflicts are going. And before I grab that, Yahweh Shai prophesied, hey, in these last days. What did Yahweh Shai prophesy? Matthew 24 and verse 6, it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So, these are part of the things that must come to pass before the return of Yahushua. Okay? These are the signals, the signs of prophecy, as it says in 2 Esdras 9. Measure thou that time diligently. Well, this is one of those events. And Trump is calling, pretty much calling hey, there's going to be this time. Hey, when the economy collapsed, every depression, or economic was what it was. The economy gets back better when after there's a war, because it creates jobs, it creates money. It's a money generator, so that's what they'll go to, to save themselves in it. And plus, these devils want that land in Venezuela for the goods. So let's continue, and I might actually go to the book of Ecclesiastes, and it's going to be the 3rd chapter. And in the 8th verse. Actually, I'll read 1 and then I'm going to drop to 8. So Ecclesiastes 3 and 1, it says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." All right, so every time there is a season, and with that season, a purpose for the thing coming. And we're coming into this time here in verse 8. It says, "A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace." Okay, so we're coming into that time of war. All right, these devils are clearly showing you who they're for. These governments, especially here in Babylon the Great, aka America, they're showing you, through these laws they put in place, that they don't care about the poor. All right, even more so, they don't care about, the Israelites. All right, the Israelite man, woman, and child, old and young. All right. But we are entering into a time of war. That's why the Lord has put the spirit on this man to commit these acts. And we'll go there in the book of Proverbs, because everything is in the control of Yahweh B'Shem Shai. Proverbs 21 and 1, "The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will." Okay, so the Lord is controlling, the mind of Trump, the mind of these leaders. All right, just as you had Xi Jinping parading around China with, showing his military might, showing you that, hey, let the weak say that they are strong, fulfilling prophecy. And he got it's like, my mind went somewhere else. He got a new toy, all right, hypersonic missile called like the Eagle Killer or something along those lines. That eagle always represented a Edomite rulership. Okay, so they know why they called it. I can't remember the name of it. That's why I was kind of laughing, because I remembered that I was trying to think of what the missile was called in Chinese, and then I was just thinking I better not say that, because I'm a butcher it. They all sound like the same type of shit, you know. Oh, so so yeah, man, and that's pretty much it. I just want to grab this last precept and then I'll close out, you know, because war is always on this devil's mind, man. It's how he comes up. This is how, you know, he gets things done. You know, and it's how he's gonna continue to rule. All right, and there ain't no way around it because the Lord is gonna force you to get involved. And you might even be the main the leading part of it. But at the end of the day, we know Babylon the Great is going to be completely and utterly destroyed in the Third World War. So this is Psalms 55 and verse 22. It says, in verse 21, it says, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords." So, main point I want to highlight is war was in his heart. No matter how, you know, soft or docile he may try to seem, and that show, you know, he tried to come off like a protector of the greater good when he's the main one doing these violent crimes and committing these acts. It's no different on a smaller scale here in Babylon the Great. They you know, point out, they accuse their brethren, you know, Jacob, for doing all these crimes and being, you know, and committing the most crimes in America, when it's really, you know, the so-called white man. And you could go fact check that. All right, you have the majority of violent crimes committed. Grape. That's you. All right, but the ones convicted unjustly, and I seen a brother post a little Edomite, you know, looking, he probably, you know, more than, you know, I put money on that he was actually a Jake. But he said, you know, the so-called black man is the most, has the most cases won for being wrongly accused. Okay, and he was going into those facts. He brought out the percentages on y'all asses. Now I forgot where I was going. I kind of got excited. But, that's where I was, you know, getting this in Revelation, speaking about how, you know, he tried to come off like he clean. You know, like he ain't never did nobody no wrong. And, you know, a characteristic that you know, the Lord, that the Lord described him as. Okay, here in Revelation, the 13th chapter, and it's going to be verse 11. It says, "And I beheld," it says, "and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb." All right, now that other beast coming up is speaking about America. Okay, it said two horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. So, those two horns like a lamb, you know, a lamb is a docile creature, you know, just as it says here in the book of Psalms, I believe the 10th chapter. Yeah. It's going to say this. In verse 9, it says, "He lieth and waits secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor." Oh, verse 10. "When he draweth him into his net," in verse 10, this is the point I wanted. It says, "He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by a strong one." So he seemed like he not, you know, doing all this bad shit. He not this, you know, hellraiser. He's not, wearing out the saints. He act like he on your side almost. And then he put out some laws that just screw you over. All right? He put out laws that, where you could be, offed in the street. And that's what it's coming to, those draconian measures, man. And know that there's going to be a civil war here in Babylon the Great, too. All right? Department of War. Now, he's declaring that Venezuela, he got a war on drugs again. All right? He got a war on immigrants. All these wars that this man is speaking of. All right? But that's the theme of it. And now, he labeled that Department of Defense, he changed that to Department of War, showing you that they own the attack. All right? And pretty soon, Trump going to give him the green light to do, whatever he wants. All right? And then you're going to see Revelation 12. Revelation 12:12 says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." And, that's what this world war, this final world war, ends with. The destruction of Babylon the Great. So rejoice for that, but know what's coming. All right? So with that, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. Until the next time, I say shalom.